it would take me approximately 13 calls, because I was just, that's all I need is 5. That's fine. You're great. Yep, lovely. Done it. Set them all up. It took me about 20 minutes.
Often with marketing, especially when it's B2B, Alex and I come across people who think they need to get thousands and thousands of leads. But when you map it and you're like, but you only need 2 clients a month.
So many people don't like picking that phone up.
This is the Giraffes Don't Eat Steak podcast.
The podcast for curious marketers who zig when others zag.
Discover the collaboration secrets that replace expensive advertising and why most businesses are marketing to audiences who will never, ever buy from them.
Hello, Alex.
Hey, Erica, how are you doing?
I am good. I'm melting a bit. My glasses are steaming up. It's quite warm here today.
Awesome.
I'm really excited to have Gill Tiney from Collaboration Global join us on the podcast today. Welcome, Gill.
Welcome, Jill.
It's brilliant to be here, and at long last to meet the infamous Alex that I have never met before. So it's
Likewise.
Thank you.
I was actually trying to think about it because we had Michael Dodd on a couple of episodes ago, and you and I met at the same time that I met Michael Dodd, right? That's COVID? It feels like it's COVID, right?
It's probably the last PSA meeting before we all locked down or something like that. Yeah. That's good memory. Well done.
So it's like a long time.
Yeah.
Sorry?
COVID is worryingly becoming a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
It still feels like it was yesterday, but we're nearly in the 5th year. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you say that. I did a LinkedIn post the other day where I realized I'm older than Google, right? Things are a long time ago.
It is interesting, isn't it, when you see so my granddaughter's 2 and you give her an old-fashioned phone and she doesn't know what to do with it. She knows how to swipe things. But she doesn't know, not that she's been given the screens, but she's seen mummy and daddy do the swiping. So if she gets hold of it, she's swiping like crazy. But give her a phone and it's like, what's that? No idea.
I saw a study I don't know if it's a legitimate study or not, but maybe more like a TikTok study.
Yeah.
Legitimate, but where different generations have different hand signals for different items. So the telephone is how you'd put your thumb and your little finger like this for people who can't see on the podcast now. And nowadays we would put up like a palm like this.
Oh,
telephone. So
your palm against your cheek.
Palm against your face, like I'm on the telephone versus I'm on the telephone, which is what we used to do.
I guess it depends on your age. I would definitely not do the palm against my cheek.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like the different generations have different ways of symbolizing different.
I'm going to ask my kids now to do it. I want to see what they do. I'm fascinated now. I'm going to ask my kids.
You're just making us feel very old now, Erica. Thank you.
I'm sorry, that wasn't the point. It was just to say we've been in and out of each other's worlds for such a long time.
Yeah.
So, Jill, for Alex and for our audience who doesn't know you, tell us a little bit about you and what is Collaboration Global?
Ooh, well, it's a big subject, Erica. What is Collaboration Global? It's an online country. It's a movement. It's a place where people come to be their best. And it's a place where we're all up to some good and trying to make little impact grow into a bigger impact to make our world a better place, which is a very sweet way of describing a bunch of entrepreneurs who come together and basically support each other and help each other out. And that might mean sharing a LinkedIn post. It might mean coming to a meeting and sharing their wisdom and their genius. It might mean doing a little video to go into an online library. So we've always got it there that we can refer to. So many different things that people can do, but the being of the community is about, let's just do things a little bit differently. A lot of people in that world out there are fascinated by numbers. In your world, marketing is all about how many leads are you generating and how many prospects have you got and how many follow-ups did you do? And it's numbers. And I'm not really a numbers gal. I like bringing people together to build relationships. And that is also marketing at the end of the day, because if you're building a good relationship, you're going to get a great client and it's probably going to stay as a great client and they're going to refer another great client. because they love you so much, because what you've done is amazing, but also the connection is there and they want to work with you and they want to be around you and hang out. So Collaboration Global is an online space to come and hang out with lovely people. That's the short answer, really.
Love it. Love it.
Awesome. So do you have any I don't want to use the word success stories because that's not what I mean. I mean, any personal stories or any kind of development stories you have for anyone who's been part of the community, just to like give us a bit of an inside understanding of, you know, what can happen and what can flourish by being part of this community.
Yeah. Well, the most recent one that I absolutely love is where I met a couple of people through LinkedIn. They became members, absolutely lovely. And then I thought, you two need to talk to each other. And this is part of my thing. I love connecting people and going, have you spoken to this person? Because I think you two do a great workshop together. Or actually, you could piggyback on the back of what he's doing, and that would be fantastic. So I had this guy in Brazil, Aidan Uttinger, who has created a business called, or social enterprise, I believe it is, the world's greatest experiment. So go check out that. I think it's .org. And then somebody Noreen over in Pakistan has decided, as a lone woman in Lahore, in her village, she's going to build a school like you do. And all of a sudden I'm like, hang on, these two should talk to each other. And before I know it, Aidan is funding her school and she is over the moon about how fast the progress is going on. We would talk about building a school and we think, well, maybe we'll do it in 18 months, 2 years. That would be lovely. She's doing it in the space of months. And whilst it's going on, the children are still being educated in a little tent outside of the building site. It's phenomenal. But also the funding that Aidan has created has clothed the children. It's given them food, 3 meals a day, and it's given them the education because it's helping pay for the teachers. In a place where normally they would be on a rubbish tip, finding plastic to get recycled and earning an income for their either single parent family, homeless family, or sometimes they're just orphans themselves and they have no chance of getting an education independently. So this woman, who in effect as a woman is a second-class citizen in that part of the world, is pushing all boundaries aside and she's making it happen. And because she found out about Collaboration Global and we had that conversation, she's now got Aidan doing it. Now his world's greatest experiment is about, when you give to a charity or a cause, they feel they're holding their hand out and they have to be grateful, and that's kind of it. But what if they had a job to do that gave them back their dignity for what they were doing and who they were and where they were at in their lives? So Aidan asks them to deliver the strongest, most powerful thing on the planet to the person that's donating to them. So that means that every day they sit down for around 10 minutes, 20 minutes, a certain set of time, and they pray or meditate to send love to that business that's just donated them the money. And that love that's going over, as a scientific experiment, it has been proven, can change the shape of water, can change the embodiment of rice, of all these living things that it has. You know, we all know if we talk and are kind to a plant, it's going to flourish. We've seen, my friend as a teacher has done experiments on every term so the children can see, if you are kind, people grow nicer, like these plants here. So they have their dignity back because they have a job to do, and their job is to send love. And now he's noticing 3-6 months later that the business that is donating is doing really well. Hurrah! It's win-win all round. So that is off-piece. That's not about business. That's not about marketing. It's about bringing two people together across the world that needed to know each other. And that to me is, my job is done. That's all I need to do. The other side of it, of course, is there are loads of businesses where people are getting together and doing some business and doing a little project, or can I be your client? Or do you want to be my client? All those kind of things. That happens. I barely hear about that until it's nearly finished. One lady got a gig in Canada. So she went over and did a series of workshops. And while she was there, they got on so well. They said, will you be our director? And then she came back. So she now goes 3 times a year. And obviously in the meantime, she's still a director of the company, and she goes and delivers workshops 3 times a year ongoing. So it's like, that was had she not been in the room at the time, who knows what would have happened. So, and the other story that I absolutely love is a guy who hadn't spoken to his dad for years. And he mentioned it in passing, and people in our community, bearing in mind it's founded on love, said, that's your dad though. That's your dad. Do you not want to? I said, no, we're fine. I'm good about it. I've sorted it out. I'm all right. Okay. But then somebody else said it, and somebody else said it. And then somebody had a phone call. Sorry, phone call. For those of you listening, I'm using the old-fashioned signal. And he said, all right, I'll talk about it. So he shared, he got some coaching in the community. Somebody suggested a course for him to go on. Somebody else went on the course with him to support him. And he made the phone call and he rang up his dad. And one phone call was all it took, and all was forgiven. So his children got to meet the granddad they didn't know exist. And his dad got to meet the grandchildren he didn't know he had. And a year later, his dad died. So had we not been brave enough in our community to go, come on, we're founded on love, let's do something about this, let's help him. If he'd said no emphatically, we would have gone, okay, fine, but we're here if you want us. But people were kind and caring and persistent, and he made the call. So to me, that's the biggest success of all. You can't top that one.
That's wonderful. I mean, and all of that is about relations, and they are in every aspect of our lives, personal and professional, probably the most important thing, right? If you have a good relationship with someone, you can get through almost anything if the relationship is good. So working on those is really, really important.
And that's why we treat the community as like an online country where we try stuff out. So we have a session where we have conversations about potentially controversial subjects. And it's a chance for us to go, oh, I got triggered by that. He said that thing and I don't like that. But rather than go, you're talking a load of rubbish, oh, this is terrible, why are you talking about this, and politics or all sorts of things we've gone into. It's for us to be grown-ups and go, actually, that triggered me. I don't know why it triggered me, maybe something in my past, but what you just said really got me. Could you explain a bit more? Can I learn a bit more from you? Tell me a bit more about it. We've had even conversations the day after the Brexit vote when people were very emotional about what was going on. And that went, at the end of it, they had an hour's conversation and they all stood up. This is when we did the face-to-face stuff. And they went off and hugged each other afterward. And I said, come on, guys, we're going to finish now. As one, they rose and just went and hugged each other. And it was like, I haven't necessarily changed my mind, but I never realized that had happened. I didn't know about that bit. And thank you so much. And I still wish we hadn't left Europe, or I'm still glad that we're in, we've left Europe, or whatever the things that they didn't necessarily change, but they looked at each other as human beings, not to be ridiculed or blamed or judged, but they looked at each other as friends and comrades and colleagues that they could trust, and they could allow their emotions to come out without causing hurt or upset. I mean, hurt and upset was around, but we were able to unpack it and deal with it at the time. So relationships, when people go about, oh, I'm not getting enough likes on LinkedIn, or I'm not getting enough connections, or there's not enough people saying they want to view my profile, it's not about the numbers. It's about the ones that do. Connect with those, have conversations, and have conversations about them, not all about this is what I sell, this is what I do, because that isn't going to build that relationship. It's asking them, how's life going? What's going on in your world? Tell me about what's the weather like in Colombia. You know, how are you connecting with that person so they remember who you are, they remember your compassion or your kindness, and they want to know more about you. And then it's the second meeting and the third meeting, and maybe even the fourth meeting that you go, do you know what? I can help you. I know I can help you. Do you want to do some work with me? Shall I send you the prices? Should we do something? And by then they're ready to go, I think you can. I think you're the only person that's really listened to what I've had to say. And
yeah, you spoke at the beginning about marketing being all about numbers. And I think Alex and I are probably the opposite of that, in that we question the numbers. So when we work with the clients, I've got one client at the moment, they have an email list of over 1,000, fabulous. And it gets an open rate of 20%, whatever. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
But when we look into the email list, less than 10% of those people are the target audience.
Oh, no.
So why, right? Like if 90%, 900 people will never buy from you, will never, ever afford your services or need your services, or okay, if you want to still talk to them, that's one thing, but don't celebrate then a 20% open rate, because it's a
curious.
fake number.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You should rather be measuring, if you want to measure the effectiveness of your marketing strategy, you move the 900 somewhere else, move it to a chat list or whatever. If you don't want to get rid of them, if you want to keep them, then, you know, send them a nice note once a month, whatever you want, but focus on the 100 and then say to yourself, right, of those, what are they opening it? Is it interesting to them? Is there value add? Are they getting to know me? Because that's the important bits, right? It's not the 1,000. It's that piece.
This is what gets me when people go, oh yes, I've got 200,000 people following me. Oh, well, lucky you. But who the hell are they? Do you know any of them? So when I look at my LinkedIn numbers, I think to myself, how many don't I know that are on there? Probably 2%. I think most of them I've spoken to and had a conversation with, and, you know, built something up so that there's some connection there. And the ones that I haven't done, or we've had a conversation, didn't go anywhere, we get rid of them. We just move on. You don't need to sit there just for the sake of being a number. It is that kind of, you're not for everybody. You can never be for everybody. So you've got to
much better off having 1,000 people that buy from you rather than 50,000 people who
like you.
Who like you, yeah.
Like doesn't fill the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I like to keep the people that like me as well. That's okay, but I don't have to sell to them. This is what I like about you, Erica, over the years, is people don't spot that they are selling to the wrong audience, and they don't. Who is my audience? And they go, well, it's this lot, and you go, well, actually, no, it's this lot, or it could be this lot, and that's better for you than this big lot over here. It doesn't matter if you could sell to everybody. Most people can sell to everybody, but no, because everybody isn't listening, because that's grey noise, isn't it? And what I love about you is this forensic scientist that's in you that digs down and asks those awkward questions to find out truly what the niche is and what that audience looks like and how they behave and where they hang out and what their demographic is, and all of those things that, for me, in the beginning, when I first, like back in 2007, when I started as a business coach, I was like, oh, just someone's got business, surely that'll do. Anyone's got business, I can coach them, that's fine. And it took me a little while to work out, but I don't like working with everybody. You know, I'm very good with finance people because they can't really see much further than those in front of their face. I'm very good with tech people because they're into the detail and they don't see the big picture. So all of a sudden you build up this pattern of the people that are good for me and me for them, and the people that aren't. And that's where collaboration comes in, because if you start collaborating with somebody that wants to put a big wedge of money on the table, very attractive, very attractive. And we've all gone down that road. Hopefully we've all gone down that road. But if you've pulled yourself back, well done you, because I now know that that is not the important factor. Because that collaboration will very rarely come to fruition if you are only doing it for the money.
That's very true. And you also touched on a really important point about when you're talking about getting to know getting to know people, essentially, you know, asking questions about them. And not necessarily straight away selling to them, and when they're ready to buy, or when they suddenly get to that point where they think, I need this, and then they say, oh, I've got this good relationship with this person, I'm going to then ask them for prices. It's like, because there's not very many products or services that exist in this world that are unique. Let's take business coaching, for example. You know, it's not a unique offer. There's a lot of business coaches. But what makes your offer unique is you and your particular angle of how you approach coaching puts you into a particular segment. So for you were saying you are particularly good at speaking to finance people because you have a way of, you know how to work with them and deal with them. And so you can build your brand around what is unique about your offer, and that's perfect, because then other people will fit with that. And if you're trying to be generic, then the person who has specific needs will not fit with that generic offering. But if you are very specific about your brand, there's going to be someone that connects with it, and they're going to be more likely to buy. They'll also pay the premium price, and they'll also be sticky. So you'll be able to keep them, and it's just overall better for you, and it's a better experience for them as well.
I think as well, a lot of people get into panic mode. Back in the day, before email, pre-Google, we were talking about that earlier, we're older than Google. People would want to sell to everybody that they came to because they just saw their local area. I know everybody in Essex, and everybody in Essex knows me, so I should be able to help them, you know. But now we can sell to billions of people. So why don't we focus on the relationships that we're having fun with, the people that we could do something bigger with, the people that we could collaborate with, and just really understand who you are first. That's what makes you unique, when you are solid in your own values and your own mindset and your own limiting beliefs and your own triggers, all the things that kind of make you up as a person. Once you know those kind of things, then building that relationship becomes so much easier. And every bit of business coaching, as an example, has an element of personal development that comes along with it, because quite often the person that's blocking the business from growing is not your sales team or your marketing team, it's you at the top, not giving them the space to be the creatives that they need to be. So when you kind of realize that you don't have to push, you don't have to sell to people, you don't have to do the double glazing salesman who's refusing to leave your house until you've signed the contract. That's 1970s, 1980s stuff. We're now all online. So it's like, relax. There's millions, billions of people out there. So who do you want to work with? And from that, that's your uniqueness, that background that you've had, where you've come from, where you want to go, where you're going. Who don't you want to work with? That's usually my first point of call. Oh, I can't possibly work with them. That would drive me nuts. You know, once you know that, all of a sudden, then you see the people that you do want to work with, and then you go, well, what's special about them? Why am I choosing them? And then all of a sudden that becomes, you get to know their industry, and then you're special, because not only are you going to be magnets for each other, because you're going to go, oh, we get on so well, we've just, like, the chemistry is there, it's just, we've connected so beautifully. But also you understand their business because you understand their industry, because you're dealing with a lot of people. So I understand the finance industry, I understand the tech industry. Tech people, funnily enough, are very good at collaborating. That's part and parcel of who they are. But if you're talking to solicitors or accountants, oh no, not going to do that. That's
insurance.
Or insurance, yes.
No collaboration.
But again, I wouldn't go into the corporate world, because the corporate world is just, they're not very good at listening, you know, and that's making a mass stereotype, mass judgment on the corporate world. But for me, the SME has the power to spin on a sixpence and change their brand or the way they're looking at things or who they're marketing to, and it happens fast and you get results fast, and that's when you get the excitement and the fun and the yay, we did it, kind of, because you become part of their team. So I think for me it's all about relationships, and that's where the collaborations come in, because if you can do it in your business and you're collaborating with everybody in your business, you're collaborating with your accountant, your VA, your supplier, your clients, they're all part of your collaboration. Then when you've got that and you've got that swimming, and it's like, right now, what other bigger business could I collaborate with, do the same sort of stuff but just more of it? And then because you know how to collaborate effectively, then the next step is going to be a breeze, because as long as they know, if they don't know how to collaborate, then you just teach them. But it's understanding the nuance of collaboration around relationship rather than transaction. That's the big difference.
And often with marketing, especially when it's B2B, Alex and I come across people who think they need to get thousands and thousands of leads. But when you map it and you're like, but you only need 2 clients a month, right? Like you need 2 a month. So there's then rather go and build 5 relationships, of which 2 will become clients, right? That is much easier, because I'm inherently lazy, as I keep saying. I like doing the easy work, right?
Quite right.
Much easier to go and do some homework, find 5 people that you'd love to work with, and then go and get to know them, go and find them, and then you'll get your 2, rather than running expensive marketing campaigns, Facebook ads, all this kind of stuff for thousands and thousands, hoping that two will fall out of the bottom.
You know why, don't you? You know why people do that? Most people do not like that final conversation where they've got to ask for the deal.
Yeah, true.
So they make themselves busy doing something else. It's like, look, I've got all these leads. What's going on? Why haven't I got any clients? Well, it's that last conversation that you have to say, do you want to work together? And so many people don't like picking that phone up. She's doing it again.
That is actually,
yeah.
it's actually worryingly true.
Yeah.
We've been the same. We've been the same. And I think many people have felt that. And then also the other thing as well is that just kind of echoing what Eric was saying, that everyone is scared that if they don't tell everybody, they're not going to get anybody.
Yeah.
And which is completely untrue. And so when Eric was just saying about stop wasting your time on trying to spend loads of money on the Facebook ads or whatever, to try and reach as many people, you really need to focus it, because the fear is that you need to, if you don't tell everyone, you won't get anyone. So, and that there's not enough people for you and your business. And like, I think if you think about it on a high street level, you can kind of debunk that myth quite easily. So if you think about in the city, you have millions of hairdressers, millions of dry cleaners, or millions of gyms or whatever. But they've all still got clients. And so if you think about like a hairdresser or gym or whatever, like, how many people do you need to make money? You only have a certain capacity. So like a gym, for example, you can only have 200-300 members. You can't have any more, but you live in a city of 2-3 million people. So if you're trying to target everybody and compete against all the other gyms with all of their messages and trying to include everything, you'll never get heard if you try and keep it very specific. Also to your area, just taking that as an example, if you're a laundrette, don't advertise on the other end of the city, advertise in your little neighborhood, because that's your niche there. You're not competing against someone on the other side of that, because people are going to travel one side of the city to the other. And it's the same with any business, really. As long as if you find your niche and you find your particular area within it. For example, you're talking about finance companies. Like, why would you waste your money sending out lots of expanding your audience on Facebook, trying to find anyone who has a business, when you could just really, really narrow it down to the few people, not the few people rather, but a more concentrated number of people with a more concentrated offer? It makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. I mean, going back to your gym analogy, how cool would it be if you had a gym that said we're Oasis fans, and we're going to be playing Oasis music every time you come into, so all of a sudden, like you say, in a city, there's going to be 300-400 people that are going to want to go there because it's there, and they're going to meet people that are like them.
Exactly.
So all of a sudden, you've got a little community going on there because they niched into Oasis fans, you know.
You heard it here. If you own a gym and you are going to use this idea, you have to give royalties to Jill.
You know what, Erica? I'm full of them. I'm full of these ideas. There's so many. I'm just bursting. I should write a book. But it's
so important understanding what your capacity is, first of all, because that could really help you understand what do you actually need to achieve. And that, again, is a question that we always come across, especially speaking to so many people on this podcast, and that you need to ask yourself that, like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? And if you know that and you know your capacity, you can then really optimize your campaign. Not even necessarily, that helps you to build the framework of what you need to do. Otherwise, you're just kind of like,
and it looks less overwhelming if you work it backwards and realize I actually only need 2 clients.
Yeah.
That sounds so much better than, oh my God, I need all the stuff. Like, because people come overwhelmed, right? They're like, oh, marketing's too overwhelming. I don't know what to do. There's so much to do. Like, I can't. But actually, let's break it down. Oh, you need 2 clients. Okay, you need 2 clients. How do we find you 2 clients? That's like a completely different conversation to you need 500 clients, right?
And that is exactly how I've always thought about it. And I'll tell you a funny story. When I first was helping my husband with his business, office supplies, right? And he wanted to have 5 meetings a week set up. So I'm working from home, I've got the babies, and I'm like, all right, I'll get you some meetings. He said, right, what you need to do is you've got to ring 100 people every day, and you've got to do this, and you've got to do this, and you've got to do that. I was like, whoa. How many meetings do you want? 5. Went, all right, I'll get you 5. So how many calls would I make on average? I mean, he's thinking I'm working 10 till 12 every day, bringing all these people, 100 people every day to get him 5 meetings a week. It would take me approximately 13 calls, because I was just, that's all I need is 5. That's fine. You're great. Yep, lovely. Done it. Set them all up. It took me about 20 minutes because I knew I only needed those 5 meetings. Why would I spend all that time ringing 100 people? That's crazy. I had other things to do.
And what happens if you were successful? So if you did your 100 calls and you were successful, you would irritate those because he couldn't take them on, right? Like he would have to not pitch up for the meetings or put the meetings in 3 months later or whatever. So you end up actually being annoying to your target clients. And the problem is you don't have a second chance. Okay. It's not like, oh, sorry, I messed up last time. Can we try again? Like, once you've annoyed someone, it's really hard work. It's an uphill. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's hard.
Yeah. And why make life difficult for yourself? Really. But what Alex was saying earlier about asking yourself those right questions is how many clients do you need? Most people aren't rabbit in the headlights when they're first starting their business, and sometimes they don't stop to think about those questions. So 2-3 years later, they're still doing what people have told them to do. To get clients, you do A, then B, then C, and then to get more leads, you do this and you do that, to get whatever it is, and they think it's the doing that's going to do it. Yeah. And sometimes it is just, whoa, slow down. Think about this for a minute. Who is it you're looking for in particular? Where do they hang out? Is it easier for you to go to the park and do the park run on a Saturday if you're selling training shoes than it is to ring around or have a Facebook adverts? By the way, any kind of advertising, you have to spend a hell of a lot of money before you get a return. So if you do not know your perfect client and the people you are aiming at, you are just throwing money out the window. So you have to be very aware of that. But I think a lot of people, and this is where a good business coach comes in, because they ask those awkward questions, and probably you guys do as well. When somebody comes to you for marketing, you're going to start at the very beginning and ask those awkward questions, and they're going to sit there and go, oh, I don't know, I'm not really sure. You mean you've never thought about it? No, not really. So here we go. Let's start at the very beginning. Do you feel like you just then roll your sleeves up and go, right, now we can do some work, then we can get on with it?
Yeah.
And often our solutions, when we get into solution modes, are collaborations. So for example, one of my first clients, because I left corporate before Alex, was a poetry writer. So she wrote poetry and she created these poetry books, and then she sold them. And she had her target market now. They were retired people. She knew exactly what they looked like. So she'd done the work. It was really great, right? She'd done the work. And she'd figured out that they were on Facebook, but they weren't buying. So when we unpacked it, yes, her target market, retired people, were on Facebook, but they were on Facebook to look at pictures of their grandkids. They weren't on Facebook to buy poetry books.
Yeah.
So then what we did is we found an orchestra that practices, it's actually in London, and we partnered. So we did a collaboration. Nice. Because all she did was offer that she would, so what they did is they had a practice run and they let people come in and listen to the practice, right? So that was, and the audience was a perfect match for her. So she would provide a table with teas and coffees, and they let her sell her poetry books, because the audience, music and poetry is a perfect combination. It didn't cost her anything. So she saved all that money she was doing on Facebook. All she had to do was once a month provide some teas and coffees for some people who were listening to awesome music. Yeah. And she got to sell books, and she sold more books in her first time there than 3 months on Facebook. And so it's also those collaborations where it's a win-win, right? It was a win for the orchestra because they provided their audience with some refreshments and they, some stuff to keep them busy, which means more people came. So they got more people to come, and she got to sell her books. So that's also where collaboration can come in,
isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. As long as you can join the dots and see the win-win. Yeah, exactly. So many
I saw a case study with the White Company. Do you know the White Company?
I do. Yeah.
And they partnered with British Airways. Couldn't say British Airways. I've been out of the UK for too long. say my nationality. And they partnered with the first class section of the flights, providing the white their sheets and pillows and
Very
blankets
nice.
stuff,
Yeah.
which is perfect because it's a premium brand,
Yeah.
and the people who are going to be in that space are they're likely to buy premium products because they're high net worth people, and you're also getting them in an environment where they want to feel comfortable, they want to feel good, so you're giving them the full experience of that,
Yeah.
and you've got the nice subtle branding of the white company there and there, and they had some really excellent numbers or whatever, and so but it's just exactly like what Eric was saying. If you And going back to what you were saying, Jill, about just stop doing and just think for a moment. Like, think, what are you doing? What's your purpose? Why are you doing it? And same with Erica, like that's just a natural connection that's a easy pathway. And the same with the white company and BA.
Yeah, and it takes a talent to be able to spot those connections as well. So many people can't see it for looking. I mean, we had two members once at Collaboration Global used to come to the face-to-face meetings and sit next to each other every single month. You know, we're creatures of habit, aren't we? Sit in the same seat. And I was speaking at the front of the room, and I gestured to them and said, "I'm sure you two are working together, aren't you?" And they went, "No, why would we? One's a surveyor and one's office supplies. I mean, that's not gonna, I can buy some paper off of him, but you know, I can't do anything for him." Okay, who do you work with? Well, I sell to schools and you do products to schools. Yeah. And what grants do you use? Oh, we do repair work on schools that are for, oh, there we go. And they hadn't had the conversation that the surveyor had a grant from the government that he could give to schools so they could get repairs done and possible small extensions to their school for free. And he obviously got paid for the work. And we had somebody with a database of over 70,000 schools in the UK. Hello, what did they need that was missing? An email. Jill's there. Jill's written the email. That got sent out. Within 8 weeks, the surveyor said, "Could you turn the tap off? I've got too much work. Thank you." And then 8 weeks later, "Can you turn it back on again?" So it was just ongoing business that was going on. But they had been there for like months, not had that conversation, because it's like, well, I'm doing what I'm doing, so that's okay. I'll carry on doing that. And that sort of works. I know that's okay. But if you want business to be flowing and have that turn on, turn off tap, you've got to think in outside the box, as the expression goes.
But how do we get there, Jill? If someone said to you, "Okay, that's good. I need to think out of the box." But is there a way, do you think, we can train ourselves to do that? Because for someone it can be an obvious connection. You can look at something and go, "Dum," but for someone else, maybe not.
Especially when you're in it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Like if your head is deep in the sand of what you're doing, how to create your product in a better way, optimize your product, it's very hard to think outside of it. Would you say, what would your suggestion be?
So I think you've got to find that other person, because when you are in it, even if you are visionary thinking and, you know, mind mapping, and you can see things from a distance and see where it's going to go. So in my mind's eye, if I can see stuff, I can make it happen. If it doesn't visualize for me, then I can't make it happen. But if you're in something, you can't necessarily, sometimes you can see, but if you're in there, you can't necessarily see. So you've got to find somebody who's kind of the opposite to you.
Yeah.
So if it's somebody that can, if you're not a good detail person, then you need to find somebody that is good at detail. If you're not good at the big picture thinking, then you need to find somebody that can do that and can join the gaps, join the dots rather. Strategists are usually people that can go dot to dot to dot to dot and see it. And then you might only need to go to the first dot, but they can see it all the way to the end. So using tools like the GC index, which is what we have at Collaboration Global, that gives you an idea of where your natural energy and talent lies. And I was told through that I was a strategist, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of like maths and stuff, isn't it? I don't do math. No, it's not me. That's not my thing. And then I had explained to me, it's like, you can join the dots and you're, yeah, of course I can. Everyone does that. And they're like, well, no, they don't actually. So I was like, oh, so I'm a strategist now, am I? I didn't think about that. And obviously that's something that I do because it's so natural. I hadn't even seen it. So I wouldn't have necessarily said to people, come to me and I'll help you join the dots. And now I can. And now I do say that to people. So it's finding out what your personality profile or what your natural space is. Are you a left brain person? Are you a right brain person? Most of us are a bit of both, to be honest, but it's where you feel comfortable. Are you a visionary? Do you see big picture, or are you loving the spreadsheet and the detail? Find the other person to opposite to what you are, to help you look at where you are and go, do you know what a good collaboration would be for you is that person. It's like the classic networking connection is, if you are a photographer, who should you connect with? And everyone goes, well, for weddings, if you want to photograph weddings, and everyone says, well, you've got to go to an event planner, or you've got to go to a food company, caterer, or someone like that. And so, well, no, rewind. What's the first person that gets to talk to the bride and groom? The engagement jeweler, the person that's going to give them the ring. And for that jeweler to be the first person, as they've just come in and they've just all the plans are coming, nothing's been set yet, to say, have you got your photographer yet? No, I haven't. Well, here's his card. This is a guy I recommend. That's the starting point of where you are. So it's finding somebody to look at where you are and open it up so you can go, oh. It's that mic drop moment of like, oh yeah.
No, but that's so important. It's something that Erica and I are working on. We're working on something at the moment as well, where we're trying to like really educate around getting yourself in early rather than like at the RFP stage, like when people like so Erica always says the nail in the foot and the pebble in the shoe. You want to be at the pebble in the shoe, not the nail in the foot, because the nail in the foot, I mean, you can be there, sure, but there's more people in the pebble in the shoe moment.
Yeah.
And there's less competition. You just need to get in there at the right time with the right education without the direct sale. It's kind of like the backdoor sale, where I offer a bit of value up front for those people, because they represent like 80% of your audience. The 20% or less, like 5% of the nail in the foot, the people like, need it now. So that's exactly the point that you were saying. I mean, so you're getting in at the ring stage rather than 2 weeks out when they're like, shit, we need a photographer, and then you're fighting. Then it becomes a price war. And so if you get in early, you avoid the price bit. You just offer the quality, the value, and then that's when you can also get your pricing, your premium pricing, rather than push down later on.
Yeah.
So two things. Number one is we had an episode with Robin Davis from the GC Index. So go and look for that episode if you want to hear more about that. But secondly is, I think the key is taking a step out of your business and totally immersing yourself in your audience. Because all these questions you were asking, Jill, that Alex was asking, was about the audience. Who is the person they're talking to? What is going on in their mind? Where are they at this point? If you think about my example with the poetry books, where are they hanging out where this is going to work for them, right? Like, because Facebook was not it. That's not what they're doing when they're there. They were looking at grandkids or playing the What Animal Am I game, you know, those Facebook games. So where are they in this headspace? If you think about the when you go to a supermarket, the sweets in the aisle, it's being there at the right time. But the only way you can do that, and that's why you have to know your audience, because if your audience is too broad, you can't answer any of those questions.
Yeah.
So it's about stepping out, and this is why doing it with someone's also a wonderful idea, and preferably if you have a business partner, that's great, or with your team. And we've done this with teams before. And we get lots of different insights. You know, people from across the business have different ideas about what their clients are doing. But then if you're a one-man band, find a friend and just say, hey, can I use you to bounce stuff off for a couple of hours, right? And then get their perspective. But it's about stepping out and into the head of your client. And that's always hard for people because you're so in the space of your business. But your client can give you such key insights as to, hey, the jeweler, that's where I got to stick my cards.
It's interesting that there's an awful lot of people that can't step into that space. I love putting on the hat of the consumer.
Yeah,
and
me
going,
too.
right, where would I go and find this kind of stuff? And like you say, a lot of people are doing the doing of, I've been told to, Facebook's the place to go. That's pretty, so they carry on, because that's what everyone's doing. Everyone seems to go to Facebook and they seem to be doing okay. So why can't I do okay on Facebook, rather than sit back and go, really? You know, people who are retired will have their purses on them when they're out, and they want a memory of that event. And I think it's a perfect idea of being able to go, oh, I've just listened to that beautiful music and now I'm going to buy a beautiful poetry book, and it just goes hand in hand. I would imagine every single person that's there is going to come and have a look and buy something. It's part of being in the arts, isn't it? So it's finding someone that can drill down, like your forensic scientist stuff. And when you give people that kind of open eye, like I say, mic drop moment, when they go, oh yeah, with music, the orchestra, that's a good idea. You go, this is what I do. All right, you're welcome. But I think we should work together and I can really make it happen for you. That's the conversation when they're in that moment of like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? It's because you're not meant to. This is what I do. This is what I do for a living. And I'm blooming good at it. So shall we work together? That's the time when you can have that sales conversation, rather than leaving it 6 months and calling them. We spoke a long time ago, and I don't know if you remember me, but and it's like, no, who are you? I told you about the orchestra and the poetry book, and oh yeah, okay, it's too late. If you're in the moment, you do it when you've given them the value and you've given them the wow, and then you can ask for the sale. And then you only need, like Erica said, 2 clients a week or whatever. There's also a numbers that do work when you're inviting. So for me, I invite 4,000 people a month to a Collaboration Global event. And of those 4,000, roughly 4,000, usually a bit less, maybe 600 will say yes. Of that 600, maybe 60 will show up. Of the 60 that show up, maybe I will have conversations after the event with 10. And of the 10 that I have a conversation with, 2 will become members. So if I want 2 to become members every single month, I've got to put effort in at the front to the right audience at the right time to make sure that numbers game works. Otherwise, it kind of falls flat. And then people at the meeting go down and you go, oh, something's gone wrong. I've got to start again. I've got to go back to square one and see what I've done wrong.
And knowing that is so important, right? Understanding that, how those numbers progress. Because if you didn't know your audience, you would have had to go invite 20,000 people to get to those 2, right? Yes. Because it would have been too broad. So you by understanding that and knowing your audience, you've made less work for yourself up front. No, but you still know the funnel. So I think that's such an important point. And actually, we could talk about this for hours, Gill, because we love talking about this. If people want to talk more to you about collaboration or about Collaboration Global and how they can get involved, how do they find you?
Well, you can come and look at the website, which has most magic buttons to get through to me. It's collaborationglobal.org, or you can find us on Eventbrite. You can find me on LinkedIn, Gill Tiney, Tiney. Nothing to do with being short, although I am. It's to do with the Cornish tin mines. So yeah, happy to have conversations with anybody about collaboration. I've written the book about it, so I've kind of explored why, how, what makes a good one, what makes it go wrong, and everything in between. I had fun doing that.
And a TED Talk, right?
Yes, oh yes, and a TED Talk, thank you. That was me having a rant, actually. I got to be on stage having a rant about the world. But just come to a meeting, come to a Collaboration Global meeting, meet the community. Erica will be there. Lots of other interesting, fascinating people. Have good conversations, learn a little bit about business, maybe a little bit about personal development, just have some fun and meet a good bunch of people. And again, you can book through the website or Eventbrite or on LinkedIn. Come and find us.
Fantastic. Alex, what's your biggest takeaway today?
I'm going to say just really think about what you want to achieve before scattergunning your way to try and finding clients. And then also, as we said, just really think about what do you actually need? How many people do you need? Because that can really help you with the direction that you take when starting to communicate your business.
Brilliant. Any last words of wisdom, Gill, for our audience?
I think sometimes if you're frustrated by the results you're getting, it's time to go and ask for some help. So, if it's marketing that's your problem, come and talk to these guys, because the knowledge and experience they have, it just makes life so much easier. So don't struggle. You don't need to struggle. There are people out there that can help you. And even if it is someone that's in family or friends, make sure they have their own business so they actually know what they've experienced it, rather than going to your mum and she's just going, "Oh, you'll be fine, darling, don't worry about it." So yeah, just go and get some help.
Because your mum always gets the best idea ever.
Yeah.
My mum will just
not your mum.
Yeah.
No, not your mum, Alex. Talk to Alex's mum. She'll tell you the truth. Awesome. I think for me, I'd like to encourage everyone to think about collaboration as a marketing stream. Somewhere along the line, it dropped off. And we got stuck on social media or SEO or but collaboration or partnerships or distribution, whatever you want to call it, that is such an important marketing stream for you to have a look at to see if it's viable for your business. And I really want to encourage everyone who's listening to just take a step back and say, is there an easy way to do this that is win-win for me and somebody else? And why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah.
Jill, thank you once again. It's been wonderful having you. And I will see you at the next Collaboration Global meeting.
Love it. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy, absolute joy.
Thank you very much, Jill.
Thanks, Alex.
Alex, good as always. I'll see you soon.
See
Bye.
you. Bye. Thanks for listening to Giraffes Don't Eat Steak, where curious marketers zig when others zag. If you enjoyed the episode, share it with someone who loves great marketing conversations. And don't forget to follow, review, or drop us a note. We love hearing from fellow curious minds, and if your own marketing's feeling a bit tangled, check out our Marketing Power Hour. It's a focused one-to-one session designed to help you get clarity and momentum. Just go to themarketingdetectives.com and book your slot. Until next time, keep zigging.